Hey, welcome Broken World Entertainment, and we got some updated news on the new Alien movie. Some of it's a bit disappointing news, some of it is news we gotta take with massive grains of salt. This story is, of course, that Fede Alvarez, the director of Alien Romulus, has shown the movie to Ridley Scott, and Ridley Scott has approved, calling the movie, and I quote, fucking great. So let's have a look at this, because there's a bit of strange news and there's some disappointing news seemingly being confirmed in this article. So Ridley Scott approves of new Alien movie by Fede Alvarez. A group of young people find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Women? Oh, no, my bad. They're talking about the xenomorph. Or are they? Maybe they are talking about women. So, breathe a sigh of relief as Ridley Scott approves of the new Alien movie from director Fede Alvarez. Here comes the bad news. That is said to be coming to Hulu streaming service. That's right. This article seems to confirm that this movie is not getting a cinema release, that it's going straight to Hulu, much like Prey did. That's not fully confirmed. It's unknown. All the other reports seem to say it's going to the big screen, but this one seems to be suggesting that it is in fact going directly to Hulu. And we will continue. So Alvarez reveals that he recently finished his director's cut of Alien Romulus, said to be the working title, and that part of completing the film includes getting the approval of the head producer, who happens to be Ridley Scott, who directed the first film in the franchise. The funny thing with this article as well is it pretty much confirms, even though it's saying there Ridley Scott is the head producer, he clearly had no involvement with it. He's simply producer by name, and by name only, which you will see by the comments from Alvarez. That pretty much confirms that. As for this thing that it happens to be the guy who directed the first film, that's the thing. They're propping up Ridley Scott like he's the be-all and end-all for the franchise. He directed the first movie. That's it. He had no involvement in the story, or producing it, or writing it, or anything like that. But all of that was already done. That was in place. They only needed someone to direct. And the studio turned around and went, hey, what about him? They went, hey, Ridley Scott, we'd like you to direct this movie. And he went, okay. That's it. So why he seems to get this praise of he's the creator of this franchise, he isn't. He simply directed it. But I digress. We shall continue. So Fede Alvarez recently spoke with Guillermo del Toro at the DGA Latino Summit 2023, where Alvarez confirmed that his director's cut of the new Alien movie is finished, and that he recently had to go through the incredibly tense process of obviously sending it to Ridley Scott. And this is Alvarez now. I wanted him to see it before anybody, and everyone gave me the heads up that Ridley is really tough. He's really tough, particularly if it has something to do with his movies. He was really tough on Blade Runner 2049, which I thought was a masterpiece, and he had issues with it because it's really hard for him because it's his work. So there you kind of hear where they're kind of really propping up, oh, it's his movies. Alien was directed by him, nothing more. Alvarez continued, I asked him about the new Top Gun, and he's like, meh. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he was like, My brother's was original, and this is like, eh. He really respected it, but you could see how tough he was. So I was like, there's no way I win this one. So you even have him just like going, Top Gun Maverick, pff, piece of piss, no, go away. Which is ridiculous. So Alvarez also revealed that he was terrified to meet Ridley Scott after completing the cut. Now, well, I'll finish this part and then I'll go back. So after completing the cut, and said he didn't want to get an email with the legendary director's response, but wanted to meet Scott in person. All of that right there confirms Ridley Scott was nowhere to be seen on this movie. He is producer by name and name only. How do you film an entire movie with, if Ridley Scott's your head producer, how do you film the entire movie, complete it, and you never met the man? You never met him and you want him to be the first to see it, which means Ridley Scott was not on set. He was nowhere near the production. He has nothing to do with this. Keep that in mind. So he continues. Even if he didn't ask for it, I was going to go there and sit at a table and look at him and get it, Alvarez said. Even if he was going to say, you destroyed my legacy, I wanted to be in front of him and see him in the eye. I didn't want to get an email where it says, Ridley says. That part is also very interesting. That Alvarez was looking upon it, that Ridley Scott could turn around and say, you destroyed my legacy. What legacy? Alien. Once again, you didn't create it, you directed it. And as for the legacy of Alien, Ridley Scott, you destroyed that single-handedly with Prometheus and Alien Covenant. You know, Covenant, the movie that was so shit that the whole xenomorph moment was shoehorned in because 20th Century Fox turned around, looked up the movie when he showed it to them and went, where the hell is the goddamn alien? That's right, it was 20th Century Fox who forced Ridley Scott to put the xenomorph in the movie because he had no interest in it. He has no interest in the xenomorph. This same man who said, oh, the xenomorph is dead, no one's interested in the creature anymore. It's all about the androids. It was never about the androids. And there's the guy that you think, if you make an alien movie, he's going to think it destroys his legacy. He did that himself. But here's where we get the bit of odd news, which is also the news to take with a massive grain of salt. So the good news is that everything worked out as Ridley Scott said. The flick is fucking great. And this Alvarez speaking out, he says, and then he walks into the room and he did say, Freddie, what can I say? It's fucking great. Alvarez continued. For me, it was like, my family knows it was one of the best moments of my life to have a master like him, who I admire so much, to even watch a movie I made, but particularly something like this, and talk to me for an hour about what he liked about it. One of the best compliments he said was, the dialogue is great. Are you the writer? Yes. So, why is that strange and why is it in the massive grain of salt? It's interesting because, and strange because he seems to like the idea that the alien seems to be the forefront and that he's liking that type of movie again, when he's been adamant that the xenomorph, the creature, is done with. It should be done away with. No one's interested in it. Which also means this movie may focus more on the android aspect as well. If that's the case, we're probably in for another absolute shit show of a movie. And let's be honest, we still probably are, because if you looked at those test screenings that they did for the audition tapes, not test screenings, auditions, The performance, now granted, it was just an audition, but if that was the performance that made you sign it, you're in trouble, because the performance for one of the main characters, can't remember the guy's name or the character, but ooh, it was bad. It looked terrible. The idea of it all being a young group, also red alert on that one. And of course, the biggest of all red alerts with it is a Disney production under the banner of 20th Century Fox, obviously, but it's still Disney. The part that you have to take the massive grain of salt is that Ridley Scott likes it. That means nothing in this day and age. The man made and likes Prometheus and Alien Covenant. He's so out of ideas and out of touch, he's making a sequel to Gladiator. It's like, I wouldn't put my fate in a Ridley Scott approving a movie. The guy has made what, one hit in the past 20 years, which was The Martian. So again, Ridley Scott talking about it being great, fine. I'm not holding my breath. I'm not taking his word for it, but whatever. The fact that they're propping him up so much about this franchise makes no sense to me either. He literally only directed the first movie. Everything about that movie was complete. Even the casting was complete before Ridley Scott came on board to direct the thing. So why he's the master all of a sudden of this entire franchise and that it's his legacy, it really isn't. I think he's got better projects that he could truly put his name to say, that's my legacy. But between that and the fact that it sounds like it is going to end up just being a direct to Hulu, could this be another Prey scenario where you look at it and go, oh, that should have been on the big screen, that would have worked perfectly, it would have been a hit? The question is, would it? If Prey ended up on the big screen, would it have been a hit? That's the real question. You know, did Predator, did that do so much damage to the brand that just people would not go near another Predator movie on the big screen, especially knowing Disney's behind it? And the same could go with this Alien Romulus. You know, Prometheus and Covenant, and not just them, but even Alien Resurrection way back in 97 did so much damage to the brand. Would them putting this on the big screen, and especially without Sigourney Weaver and Ellen Ripley, would it attract an audience? Don't know, but we'll find out if it goes on the big screen or if it just ends up being a Hulu special. We'll find out. I believe it's next year it's supposed to come out, so until then, and with that, I'll leave it there for this one, so cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.